and we've had some docs that are building their own, shopping centers. Hello, Dental World. This is the Dental Construction Insider, your podcast for your office. If you're going to remodel, you're going to do a startup, you're going to do an expansion, you're going to do the big bad ground up.
Yep.
We're here to help you guys. This should be some information you should be able to have for the future. Okay, so let's just jump into this. We've been doing a lot of well, John and you have been doing. John's been designing a lot of offices that are large. This has been a trend lately. We've got a lot of docs call us the last 90 days
Yeah.
that are looking to do 10,000 square feet, 8,000 square feet. I think the
Five.
smallest was like not even six.
The smallest was like 5,300.
Yeah, that's a big office.
It is. Because we're not used to seeing them that big.
Well, yeah, we're not used to that, and that's not even a ground up. It's like these are in shopping centers.
Yeah, they're
for the most
old.
part.
I don't know, Route 21s or
Yeah, they're big. They're big boxes.
like yeah.
So and John's been going through a bunch of these where I know you've been designing them for 3,500 square feet, um, and then they want to be able to leave room for expansion in the future. And we've had some docs that are building their own shopping centers, and that are wanting to take up the small, of course, the prime
Location,
spot,
yeah.
and then they want to have the nail, the hair salon, whatever, and they want to have tenants, but they also want you to design it so that way you have, in case that nail salon goes, decides to move or it doesn't work out, or more importantly, the dentist is like, man, I need more space, and so he's
kicking
like,
them out.
I'm not renewing their lease, and so he's wanting you to design it, so that way there's an easy pass through, and so how do you, I guess, how do you go about that, John? Is it that you do like the primary stuff in the initial build, like they got to have a mechanical room, they got to have a break room, they got to have, or lab and stereo. I guess those are the most important. Mechanical lab stereo, right? Um, you know, how do you build that like something like where that can grow? Or
Well, I think what's been happening a lot recently is I think the doctors or even like business partners, especially the ones that are not doing startups and they're a little bit more, how do you say it? I guess progressed in their career as far as, not only being a dentist, but also as a business owner.
yeah, their experience.
Um,
Yeah,
So it's a change in the way of, I guess, the strategy that I've been seeing, which is kind of interesting, right? Because we kind of are going to be noticing certain different trends and stuff like that, of course, because, we're not just here in Texas, but
yeah,
I think it's so interesting because they are also taking the business stance and looking at longevity as in regards to, is this going to be, am I spending less money just expanding and, maybe doubling the amount of chairs and maybe, equipment or whatever it may be, but in the long run, is that, a little bit more lucrative than having multiple offices across the city and maintenance of those buildings
yeah,
and maintenance of each of those offices and staffing, and it kind of gets,
yeah,
so I can, and then, so it's interesting to see that change in strategy as far as, or an alternate strategy as far as the way that you develop your startup and how you can get to a place after, where it's more of like the expanding portion of it. So, but yeah, so when you're designing, of course, a bigger building with the opportunity to expand, you're also considering what this space can be in phase two. So it can be a little bit tricky, but I think as long as you leave certain areas where plumbing's going to be easily accessible with or to tie into the existing chairs or air and vacuum lines, or maybe trenching is going to be already done, but you're going to cover up it in a way to where the hallways or corridors will still be able to give access to necessary spaces that because it's bigger, it means that there's going to be a need for more access to the whole floor plan as a whole, for because of patient flow, and because of staff and grabbing equipment or things from room to room. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
or carts, mobile carts. So it's about making everything, I guess, accessible, but also in the future have that flexibility to be able to alter the floor plan in a way where it's not only cost effective, but you're able to enjoy those extra chairs and make that extra money without sacrificing your amenities or patient space.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And so I've noticed that. I've noticed exactly what you're saying about how some of these docs are looking to consolidate their offices, right? They had like,
yeah,
like their startup was in a lease space and then they had like another one somewhere else in a small one. And they're like, you know what? I'm like, I
why
got to
would
go to,
why would you have 4 or 5
yeah,
offices that are only 5 ops each when you can
yeah,
have 2 practices, but each one
yeah.
has 20 chairs
And I understand the philosophy that 5 chairs is like the golden number. Any more than that, it's like, but they just like, I've already done it. I've already got my patient base. I can build my big office and consolidate all my staff. I don't have to worry about the efficiency of like the golden number of
in
five. And
some states, as where you can still follow that rule, but I
yeah,
think
yeah.
now, and I think
No,
now,
well, you want sure to have all your patients
yeah,
base and your restorative and all that
yeah,
coming back. Well, then they move to one big office, have all their staff there, right? And they can easily maintain, manage, and all of that kind of thing, their people. And so, I get that, and then I get where you're talking about where you're building a portion of that out, but you're keeping in mind for future use, and you know, kind of the way that it used to be, because we've had a lot of docs tell us like, no, I don't really want to. I love the efficiency of going in from one room to another room to another room, but then they also like, man, it's a maze. I need to be able. I have this is too big of an office, which makes sense to me, and I don't want to feel like I'm going through a maze. I need to be able to have a cut through, so that creates like islands and a bunch of different, could be a bunch of passageways or egress or hallways, and which as we know, and as we were taught, are not very efficient. But in a 10,000 square foot office, you can't have a freaking maze like, you're at the corn maze or something. You know what I mean? Right? Feel like you're the damn corn maze when you're going through some of these things. We were at Dr. Lee's office, right? He took over the whole
Oh yeah,
thing,
the
right?
whole shopping center.
He took over the whole. Well, we were walking with him. I was like, "Geez, man, do we need to do some breadcrumbs behind us, man?" We were going like through. He started out at 2,000, 2,200 square feet or something like that. I can't remember the exact.
quarters.
Forgive me for not remembering the exact square feet, but then he took over the entire. I mean, he went boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's
And now
like
he's adding another how many?
he's
square
adding
feet?
like 5,000 or
Yeah.
more, 7,000 square feet to that same building. So it's like, dude, man. I get it. Where you want like passageways, which we were, taught not to do that because it's a waste of space and stuff. But when you're talking about a building that size, man,
You're not wasting any space.
need
It's
to-
more.
And then 10 years resale value. I mean, you're
yeah.
it's,
Oh yeah. And then if he decides to sell,
and then you're on to
yeah, yeah, you're on to the.
I was making other decisions.
You're making other decisions. Yeah, I think he's worried about like a coffee shop or something there now or something. I know. I'm looking forward to getting up there during the
summer.
summer
That
when
way
it's
it'll be nice and
105
cool.
down here. I know.
Yeah.
I know. So
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
cool, it's
so
cool
that,
stuff. It's really
yeah,
cool. It's
it
very
is cool.
interesting. It's
Yeah,
it's
I mean, and so I get it. I get the whole philosophy about dentists are like going into bigger spaces now. They're just taking over bigger spaces, bigger markets. So that way. And
They're
these are
looking out for the
established docs.
future.
These
Yeah.
are established. They're seasoned. A lot of these guys are doing it now. We do have a couple that are doing a startup, but they're like specialists, and they so
All they need
they
is 3
they
rooms.
yeah they
You know?
or they can afford that big 8,000,
Yeah.
6,000 square foot office. And that's like I said, most of these are in shopping centers, but some of these are shopping centers that the dentist owns. He owns the land. He built a shopping center, so he's got like different spaces, and he's taking the prime one. So it's almost like a ground up, but it's not because it is a shopping center. Yeah, we're getting into different things now. I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, because we're like,
and
we're gonna end up having to watch that entire
and I
process.
think and I think
What?
the amount of things going on is dependent on that stage of where that doctor is in his career, because we've seen it all, right? We've
Yeah.
seen
Well, it's
it's
I'm glad you brought that up
Yeah.
because we've seen the docs. We started out with them, right? You know, the old program, affiliate program years ago now. And they were doing their initial startup. And then, you know, we were connecting with them again and they were doing their second, third, fourth, whatever office, right? And then lately we've been helping them with their ground up office, right? And now we're starting to help them with like their shopping centers that they're building for, you
Yeah,
know,
land
all kinds
development.
of
Yeah.
land development ground up for them to be able to, you know, have the prime space, but you know they're also going to be like landlords where they're going to have the entire 4 acres or 1 acre depending 1 to 4 acres. Some of these guys,
It's like seeing all the stages of life with these people. It's
right now we're seeing them going
Yeah.
to bigger things. We're like, well, we're gonna catch up here soon, man.
Fun
Yeah,
fact, we found out that 1 acre is 46,000 square feet.
Is it 46,000 square feet?
Yeah,
Wow.
for 1 acre.
Yeah.
Whether it includes parking or whatever, don't hold me
It's
to
just
that.
the
I don't
land,
know. It's
yeah.
just the land. The land
square
alone.
feet, yeah. Because they were giving out prices for square feet. Like, well, I think it was like $30 or $40 a square foot. You're like, oh wow. Then you're like, then you start thinking, well, hold on, how much square feet is an acre?
Yeah,
And so we did that, and we're like, holy smokes.
46,000.
So it's like, yeah, 46,000 times, just say $40 a square foot, and you'll see how much that is. It's a lot.
It is.
It is. Anyway, yeah, I think did we cover what we needed to about like doing your big office and being able to like, find that right plan so that we can expand in the future if you rent the space out, 2 or 3 down, that way you can take over slowly or
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really plumb it and do anything like that. You can only do your space because if you're renting it to somebody else, that's all going to get damaged anyway, or it's going to get cut or whatever they do. Whatever. If it's a nail salon or a hair salon, even that
Yeah,
goes
there's a
next
lot
to
of
you,
plumbing.
there's a lot of plumbing in the ground. So you can't say, "Well, I'm going to put it all in for the future." It'll be ready for me. No, because if it's you got one space and then there's 2 more next to you or 3, the chances are, I mean, you'd have to be real particular who you rented it to. So yeah, I know we've seen that. We've talked about a lot of different scenarios with some of these guys. Changing our way of thinking, right? I mean,
It
how we're
does.
doing what we talk about and what we see. So, anyhow, all right. I think we're good with this. And
Make
okay.
sure and like, subscribe.
Oh,
Leave
yeah.
us comments. We'll answer
Check it
whatever
out.
you need.
Check it out.
Yeah, thanks.